Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. I'm having some kind of technical difficulty today involving X, or maybe it's my computer spooling too slow or something. But we're going to do a little bit of reading today, and I had a clip I wanted to show y'all. But before I get into that, let's ponder a little bit about what's going on. Now, as of today, Trump has decided to restart the emergency food stamp money for about 2 or 3 weeks worth of food stamps for every household. It's not the full amount. So how that will affect people still receiving their food stamps in 2 or 3 weeks or whenever the shutdown ends, I don't know how this is going to play out because we don't know when the shutdown is going to end. But that is a one-time payment opportunity that a couple judges forced Trump to do this, which I don't know if it's for the best or not. I hate to see people do without food, but my issue is the fact of the matter is we've got way too many people that have been living on food stamps for 10, 20, 30 years, never have any intentions on getting off of them. We've got illegals from every country in the world living off food stamps on our tax dollars. And now that we're starting to look into this, ever since Doge started digging into the whole food stamp, Social Security, the voting systems, all these things are tied into the illegal votes. The census, all this stuff is tied into the illegal vote count. Well, as of right now, we've got 2 states that are refusing to work with the federal government, including trying to sue so they can keep their illegal alien welfare abuse hidden. Doesn't that scream guilty? I think it does. But other than that, we've got 21 other states that refuse to cooperate altogether. And to me, this seems like a pay-to-play. They're bribing the illegals with, they're calling it health care. But more than that, it's the SNAP benefits. It's the housing. It's the phones. It's the credit cards. And it's the medical. It's a little bit of everything. They're giving them a full free ride, folks. As a matter of fact, I've seen in certain states like California and New York, they give the illegals more food stamps per person than they do every other nationality. Isn't that a little bit of racist? Is there some kind of civil rights infringement there when only the illegals in your country are getting more food stamps? That seems a little bit messed up. But I want to read this to you folks. This is Brooke Rollins. She's exposed massive food stamp fraud. With all this happening, we're going to find out how many people don't need to be on the rolls, how many people are illegals on the rolls, how many people are double dipping. Probably going to find a lot of the waste, fraud, and abuse that numbers that we heard about when Doge was spitting all these digits at us months and months ago. And we're like, there's millions of people on the voter rolls that don't need to be. There is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that are on Social Security that are 130 years old. I know y'all remember this stuff. What we found out through all this is that the Social Security numbers of dead people have been reactivated and reissued to tons and tons and tons of illegals in order to get them into the system, get them on the food stamp program, get them in housing, get them registered to vote. That was the master plan, folks, and that is what's really going on. They've been caught. Now, what will we do about it? Hopefully, Trump will throw the book at these 21 states and force them to come clean. It says in her first move as Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins is wasting no time draining the swamp inside the nation's food assistance system. In her fiery post on X, Rollins revealed that her department has already uncovered mass fraud within Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP, and that 21 Democrat-led states are actively blocking efforts to expose it. They're trying to hide the fact that they've been feeding the illegals. See, what they do is they take that Medicaid, Medicare money and they reallocate it for other things. And what this is if they can't continue to bribe these people, they'll go home. They will self-deport. A lot of them will. Once the free ride's over, they're going to have to go get a job. They'll go somewhere else. It says, on my first day at USDA, United States Drug Administration, we told every state to send their U.S. SNAP data so we could make sure illegal immigrants aren't getting benefits meant for American families. 29 states stepped up and 21 states refused. Can you guess what states refused? And 2 sued just for asking. Guess what? It's just the states that cooperated, we've already uncovered massive fraud. The Democrat Party has turned its back on the working American, built its entire strategy around protecting illegal aliens. They know if the handouts stop, those illegals will go home. The Democrats will lose 20-plus seats after the next census. There's a new sheriff in town, President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and he will not tolerate waste, fraud, and abuse while hardworking Americans go hungry. Rollins appeared on Fox News to further detail what her team discovered after just weeks of investigation. Didn't take them long to find out, did it? It says, on February 13th, her first day at the USDA, Rollins sent letters to all 50 governors demanding data transparency to ensure no illegals were receiving taxpayer-funded benefits. Under the Biden regime, according to Rollins, SNAP benefits ballooned by nearly 40%, with millions of new recipients added during the record time of illegal immigration and inflation. Well, of course they did, starting about early to mid 2021. That's when they started signing them up. As soon as they opened the borders and let them in. Rollins said her team has reviewed about $100 billion in SNAP spending and has already identified widespread abuse and criminal activity. The Democrat Party was stealing that money to pass it out to the illegals. Brooke Rollins said on day one at the U.S. Day, we sent letters to every governor to verify that we clear them off of the food stamp, SNAP programs if they're on it. 000, they said. We asked every state for the first time in history, and it was in February, to send us their data and let us know. That with the DOJ and the War Room actually start going through this data to better understand how the explosion of SNAP benefits happened under Joe Biden. We know how it happened. We increased almost 40% of the program in just a couple of years under the Biden administration. Of course, we know they were trying to buy the election, and that's a conversation for another time, since we have asked for the data. 29 states have complied, 21 have not. It says, we've got almost 700,000, but in that data, I haven't talked about it publicly yet. We have found, after studying about $100 billion spending thousands and thousands of illegals, use of the EBT. We have been moving people off the SNAP, off the benefits. We got almost 700,000 people. Wow. I think that we've moved off just since the president took office. So they got 700,000 people off of the food stamp program since Trump has been in office. We've arrested about 118 people. So this has been ongoing. But Rachel, to your point, what's this conversation? What this conversation has allowed is a national spotlight on a broken and corrupt program. We found one guy in 6 different states getting benefits. We found about 5,000 people who are dead and are still getting benefits. It is time to drastically reform the program so that we can make sure that those who are actually truly needy, truly vulnerable, are getting what they need, and the rest of the corruption goes away so we can serve the American taxpayer and cut some of our taxes down for the fact that it's coming out of our pockets, folks. Literally coming out of our pockets. We kind of knew this was happening once we got the stats from Doge. And it makes sense that the Democrats were using this incentive plan to bribe people to stay. Come on in, we got free stuff. You stay, you vote for us, we'll feed you forever. You know what's going on, folks. Now, if this thing stops spooling long enough, maybe we'll get to play a little bit of another video clip. Like I said, the internet is acting slow today. I do not know what's going on. I don't know if it's... I think my phone is alright, but my computer is just crawling today. See all this spooling going on, folks? But I've got a clip here for you that coincides with what I was telling you about. This is Elon Musk on stage.
Wow, there's barely anybody here.
This is great.
This is actually Elon Musk, Benny Johnson show, but it's an Elon Musk clip. I forget this guy's name, who's with him, but they're at like a symposium talking about the vote, talking about Social Security, talking about what Doge just found, and I just thought this was absolutely necessary to hear this. Check out these stats, folks. This is crazy stuff.
When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed this in this direction. I want to honor them right now, that work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on. Yeah. So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people. Very good people. I have been from D.C. to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case.
Listen to this. This is how the system works, and this is how it's been broken.
You get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release from your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, notice to appear, which is to appear at a judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges, benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why. Right. And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to...
Found people in every state registered to vote, getting Social Security, got a Social Security card so they can work if they're not receiving Social Security benefits. Some of them are on disability, some of them are on food stamps, some of them are on, excuse me, all of the above. And they're getting them registered to vote, incentivizing them to stay here. It's not going to work, folks. We got to get these people out. We got to cut these programs down. We got to cut these programs off, especially for the illegals. Now, I think food stamps can be a good thing for certain people in times in life when maybe you need a leg up because you lost your job or something, having a couple months to rebound. Food stamps are supposed to be a temporary program for families in need temporarily. Giving them to people for 30 years, giving them to people with no IDs and no form of citizenship, giving them to people that live in other countries. How does that work? It's a mess, folks, and I'm glad to see that the shutdown may actually bring some light to this whole situation. Because right now we have found that there is already 1.3 million people on Medicaid. So does that mean, and we found from that particular group about 5.5 million people receive benefits. We found individuals from particular groups, meaning, you know what groups. So we took the sample and looked at the voter registration records, and we found people from populations registered to vote. Yes, who did they vote for? We found they actually did vote. So they're getting them registered to vote. They're getting them identification. They're giving them dead people's Social Security number. They're hooking them up with every kind of benefit they can in order to ensure that they will stay in this country. That is the problem, folks. We cannot incentivize Chuck Schumer by giving them money for their Medicaid, Obamacare, keep the illegals in the country plan. Not going to happen. Never going to work. Never going to agree to that. Not in a million years. if we have to nuke the filibuster, we're never going to agree to that. And I hope we don't nuke the filibuster. But I think if the Democrats ever get back in power, they will nuke the filibuster. So that's really a double-edged sword, however you look at it. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. But that's what I got for you today, folks. I just wanted to let everybody know that the food stamp program is a shoddy mess, very wasteful. People are 500 pounds living at home, sucking on their food stamps at our tax dollar expense because they're too lazy to work. And that's a big portion of it. And there's all the other factors as well. One of the things I think would be a big deterrent for the food stamp program is make sure they all got citizenship. Make sure they're not on drugs. Because if you got time and money to be getting high, you should be out working. That's all I got to say. Like, subscribe, and share, folks. Hope everybody enjoyed. Over and out. Oh, by the way, Nancy Pelosi